Hello, my fellow foodies. So today, another exciting recipe, my Aunt Lula's white bean shut up and eat soup. Okay, so it's called Shut Up and Eat because my Aunt Lula used to own this gem of a restaurant on the island of Abaco, Bahamas, and she decided to call it Shut Up and Eat because the food is just that good. Okay, so today I have a special guest who's going to be helping me with this ambrosial, delicious white bean soup because it's quite a lot of prepping to do with it, right? So my friend is over visiting, many of my friends here for Family Day weekend. This is LaShanto. We have known each other for almost about 20 years.
20 years now.
Yeah, absolutely. And the reason why I'm really preparing this soup today is it's a special request of his. It happens to be his favorite soup in the
world.
Absolutely. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're ready to experience the best soup in the entire Caribbean, remember to hit that button and subscribe to Island Gurl, Gurl, Foods TV, and remember to always ring that bell so you're the first to be updated every week with these exciting recipes. And LJ, are you ready?
I'm ready. Are you ready?
Let's get started.
All right.
So as we say in the islands, fresh is always best. So you want to select the best ingredients. Make sure that your vegetables are not bruised in any ways, especially your tubers. So first we're starting with some large lima beans, and I prefer the dry ones, more flavor. You really want to soak these overnight with water to cover. They expand, and what I'm doing here is just peeling the skins off the lima beans. We're going to pour our lima beans into my big rondeau, which we know in the culinary world, or a large pot, because this is soup for a crowd. Now, this is about 4 pounds of lima beans because, as I mentioned, I'm making soup for a crowd. So now I have prepped my corn. I've cut them into 1-inch pieces. I have some sweet potato, carrots. I also have my Caribbean sweet potatoes soaked in water so it doesn't oxidize. And so are my cassavas, also soaked in water. I have 1 large onion slice. I have my 1 cup of Italian parsley diced, 4 stalks of celery diced as well. And I also have a whole head of minced garlic. And I have approximately 3 firm plantains cut up into 1-inch pieces. I have 3 cups of very ripe tomatoes diced. And always that perfect flavor enhancer, my seasoned salt, about a 1/3 cup. I have a 1/4 cup of Italian seasoning. And I have a tablespoon of dried oregano, 1 cup of ketchup, and I have 2 bay leaves and about 8 sprigs of thyme. Also, Scotch bonnet chilies are optional. I usually put about 2 ripe ones into this soup. And now we move on to my meat selection. I have 3 pounds of pigtails, 4 queen conchs, delicious. I also have 2 pounds of salted beef that I've cubed. And of course, 2.5 pounds of oxtails cut into 1-inch pieces, and 4 pounds of smoked turkey. Now, you may select any combination of meats. I always love combining conch with my meats. However, you can choose to leave out the conch, or you can add a seafood of choice that's similar to conch, like gooey duck. My conchs I place them in a pressure cooker because they need to be tenderized, and I cook them for approximately 20 minutes. And after the cooking process, you also want to save that flavorful stock. My oxtails and salt beef, I cook in a Dutch oven with water to cover, and cover with a lid, and basically you want to cook until tender, approximately about 50 minutes. Now back to my beans. I'm going to use an immersion blender to blend these beans into the water, and it's going to really make a flavorful stock. This gives the soup its thickness, its color, and the whole flavor. So this is a very important step. Now I'm adding my onions. I'm going to add my celery. My minced garlic is going in, and then you want to stir, of course. This soup is all about layering flavors. So now I'm going to go in with my ripe tomatoes. Very important to use very ripe tomatoes. I prefer to use the diced canned ones because you can always find them ripe. And now I'm going to add all my spices. I have my Italian seasoning, my oregano, and I'm going to also add some of Raquel's seasoned salt. And I will continue to add this as I'm cooking along different stages of my cooking. So we're not adding all spice at once. We're just going to keep layering as we add more of our meats in. I'm going in with all of my turkey. And this is smoked turkey, lots of flavor. And then I'm adding my pork tails. You want to stir occasionally as you're cooking. And then I'm adding my bay leaves with my thyme, cover slightly ajar, and continue to cook that for about 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, I'm going to give this a nice stir again. And I need to mention that I am cooking this on medium-high heat. Now I'm going in with my tubers. I'm going in with my Caribbean sweet potatoes, my cassavas, and I'm going in with regular sweet potatoes. There's so many tubers you can use as a combination. I'm going in with my carrots as well. There's also another delicious root vegetable called edos. I don't have it today, but you'll find it in your supermarket, and it is absolutely delicious to add to the soup as well. My conch meat is finished tenderizing in the pressure cooker, so I just sliced it up and adding that to the soup, also with that very flavorful broth, right? You want to keep that and add that to the soup. This soup is loaded with flavor, and there's nothing like it. And this is a labor of love, guys. So just stir and keep layering flavors. Now I'm going in with my Scotch bonnet chili, and I just went in with about 2 of them. I'm going in with some parsley, my garlic, and I'm using about half of the portion. I will eventually use the full amount, but as I mentioned, it's all about layering flavors as you cook the soup. Covering slightly ajar again, and now I'm just adding a little olive oil into another pot. I've also added some salt, and I'm going to boil my corn separately. You don't have to boil your corn separately as I'm doing if your pot have enough space, but mine don't because it's loaded with vegetables, spices, and meat. So now my oxtails and salt beef are nice and tender, and I'm also adding those to my main pot of soup. This process with me cooking the oxtail and salt beef separately really speeds up the time of cooking. So now I'm going to continue to allow my flavors to come together. I'm adding in a cup of ketchup. And yes, that cup of ketchup does matter. Adding in my plantains. And this soup is really going to be savory. The flavor profile will be a bit tangy, a little spicy, and a whole lot of earthy deliciousness. So we're going to continue to stir. And now I'm going to cover slightly ajar again. And now my favorite part, adding my flag dumplings. We're almost to the end. The recipe for this flag dumplings you can find on the link below and also on my website. So these dumplings are going to thicken the broth of the soup, calling for a very savory ambrosial soup unlike no other. So as you add your dumplings one by one, you want to continue to stir. And really, we want to let these dumplings cook for approximately 15 minutes.
So guys, here you have it. My Aunt Lula's Shut Up and Eat white bean soup. It's ambrosial, it's heavenly. As you can see, I didn't skimp on any ingredients. And guys, you can use any combination of meats that you would like. If you don't like pork, then go ahead and use smoked turkey. You can substitute the conch meat for gooey duck or clams. I love a great combination. Now, I have to tell you about this soup. It has been heavily in demand for many, many years by all of my friends. The last count I had, it was about 50, and they would come to my house with pots to feed their entire family. Not plates, pots, guys. Not Tupperware, but saucepans or pots. So the size of the pot that I had to use was enormous. LJ, you have the evidence, and you took a live video.
Live video.
How many steps I had to climb to?
She had to climb up to 3 steps. Tip over. This, I would call it, this ain't even a bucket, this is a garbage bin of a pot. Take her and stir with a pizza spatula. Would you take the pizza out? And she stirred and stirred and stirred, then climbed back down with her shorts up over the tall pot.
Bohemians are storytellers. So he has the evidence. But guys, I hope you enjoyed this edition, but we can't leave without sampling.
Yes.
And, you know,
Ladies
giving
first.
the viewers, now let's go in together. Let's go in together. Okay? Soup is hot, so we don't want to burn our mouth. Oh my God.
You don't know what you're missing. You don't know what you're missing.
Well, now you have the recipe. You can make it for yourself, for your friends. and your family. And guys, remember, when it comes to Caribbean cuisine, nobody does it better than
this island girl right here.